Okay, so it looks like we have our little bit of peace and quiet now. So first of all, I'd like to say hi and welcome to the reserve team.
Thank you.
Would you like to explain a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Julie, and I didn't know about Stoke Haunted. It was when I met Laura at psychic development class, a medium class, back in the summer of last year. I became friends with Laura on Facebook, and then I saw that she was involved in Stoke Haunted, and through that I started liking and following Stoke Haunted, and then Andy contacted me and asked me to join the team, just as here we go, just as for an investigation back in November, which I went on, and I really enjoyed it.
Right, so have you ever tried anything with any other paranormal teams in the past?
No, never.
You haven't, so we're quite honoured that you've started with us. What is it that drew you towards Stoke Haunted?
I think the opportunity to be involved with a team and investigation is something I've always been curious of, sort of the unknown. Even though I have had an experience, it was very subtle, I think, but it's the afterlife, spirits, ghosts, things that you can't explain, I am curious about and do find it quite interesting. So when I had the opportunity to join the team on an investigation, I was really quite pleased that you'd asked me, and I was sort of quite excited to join you.
So you briefly just touched on there about a small kind of experience, am I right?
Yeah.
Would you like to kind of, I don't know, expand on that a little bit, explain to us what it is that you think that you experienced?
Well, we live in a house that's about 200 years old, and even though it feels absolutely fine, I don't feel there's any activity in the house, we have some outbuildings in the back garden, and probably about 3 or 4 years ago I was in there sort of early evening, and there was a man stood staring at me in there, and I could have sworn, but you know, nobody believes you, of course, but I have seen him around again.
You've seen him since?
Yes, and so I've seen him twice now, but it wasn't straight after that experience, it was probably about 18 months, 2 years after. And I thought, I've seen you before, and because I saw him the second time, I thought, no, it mustn't have been my imagination.
Kind of solidified it.
Yeah, the first time you see something, you sometimes think, well, maybe because it's early evening, you know, you can always blame it on other things.
Tricks of the light,
yeah,
and all that kind of thing.
But when I saw him the second time, I thought, no.
Was it in the same area that you saw him the second time? And so, was there any particular pattern of what was going on at home at the time? Any decorating, any changes?
No, not that I can think of. I think I just nipped over there for something, and I saw him there. And then the second time it was actually in the house, it wasn't in these outbuildings.
And what was your reaction?
I was okay, because I think because sort of the last sort of 12 months I've been on my own sort of spiritual journey, and I've touched on mediumship slightly, and I feel comfortable with it. So I didn't feel scared, and I didn't feel like he was a threat, or okay, it was going to be a harmful experience. I kind of just felt like I was more relieved that I'd seen him again. I thought, so maybe you are.
So you just mentioned about your own spiritual journey, and you've obviously been with Laura to a spiritualist church. What kind of area are you most interested in?
I'm most interested in the mediumship, just interested watching the mediums in the team to see how they work, and also to see if I get thoughts and they actually come out with something that I thought of, then obviously I feel like I'm connecting to something.
Brilliant. So with the reserve team, we generally call you in the spaces and things like that. Do you want to aim to try and be a full member?
I'd like to if I can. Obviously we've all got commitments and things, so and depending on where the investigations are, yeah, I'd love to come to more investigations if I can. I think probably most people would like to see a spirit in a physical form. that we all see and we all witness. I think that would be a really good evidence. For me personally, I would also like to develop my mediumship. That's another path and another journey that I would like to do on. Coming here, for me, it wouldn't be to... I'm very much in the infancy of my development, that's if I do develop even, but I have had experiences with it, and for my own curiosity and for my own sort of journey, in one way I'd quite like to see if I pick up on spiritual energy and have the same thoughts as the other mediums. I wouldn't like to step on obviously their toes. It's just really, I'm quite happy to stay in the background and just sort of see what I feel and share it. And
just basing around the team again, what do you think will be the most difficult part of being in the Stoke Haunted team and doing the overall paranormal experience?
Somebody that doubts the paranormal or doubts the spirit world, and
even when we have something recorded, it's going to become a regular thing. If there's something recorded, anybody that I've spoken to personally has said, "Oh, that's been staged." It's only us in our little group that no, it hasn't. For me, that's a tough piece because you really want to say it happened. It did happen. How do you think you would cope with any difficult situations?
Well, I think I have had people that have said certain things to me in the past, and I think, like anything, you have to be involved. You have to actually be there to experience it yourself. And I would probably say to anybody who sort of doubts things, they have a right to have their own opinion, like we all do. But I think until you've experienced an experience, then I really don't think you can comment either way, in the sense.
Brilliant. And just finally, it would be just wondering what would be your ultimate venue to do paranormal investigation?
My ultimate venue to go to somewhere that would be active, that's been proven to be active, just to try and experience that sort of activity. So I'd be very happy to go if somebody wanted to take me along to a venue that was very active. I'd find that quite interesting.
Well, that's great, and hopefully we'll get into such well-known venues in the future. So for now, it's just down for me to say welcome to the reserve team, and thank you very much for having a little chat with us, with Andy pointing the camera at you left, right and centre. So have a good evening.
Thank you.
And maybe come and catch you a bit later on to see what you've thought part way through.
Super, thank you.